Hi everyone, Sean here. Welcome to part 6 of my YouTube series about money, and thank you for watching so far. We've spent a lot of time throughout these videos talking about the history of money, how it's developed, different forms, and what money looks like today. But money is still a developing human invention. How could it be different in the future than what we know today? You've possibly heard about Bitcoin before. If you're new to it, all you may know is that it's some weird internet money, but it's actually a lot more than that. With this video, we are going to introduce Bitcoin and explore its properties as money. Let's think about how digital cashless payments are today. If I want to pay you or anyone without using physical cash, there has been no real way to do that without going through a financial intermediary. Think about it. Credit and debit cards go through both the bank and the payment processor. And if you're using an app like Venmo, Zelle, or Cash App, you add another company to the equation. Every time you pay digitally, your bank, MasterCard or Visa, and Venmo all get every piece of information about your payments, which they use to build a complete profile about you. The idea behind Bitcoin is digital cash, to make digital payments more like handing a dollar bill to someone, as opposed to going through a bunch of intermediaries. In late 2008, on an email list for a group of people known as cypherpunks, which was essentially a small group of computer nerds, a person using the name Satoshi Nakamoto sent out a white paper detailing his new digital cash idea called Bitcoin. The idea had a mild response from this group of nerds. A few months later, though, on January 3rd, 2009, Satoshi had completed the computer code for Bitcoin and launched the Bitcoin network. Satoshi's goal was to create a new form of money, a natively digital cash that was fully peer-to-peer. If you send a transaction through the Bitcoin network, there is no intermediary that the transaction needs to run through. There's no bank, no company, and no government. The network is decentralized. What's important to realize here is that this ability to send a payment through the internet without any intermediary or company to have the payment routed through has never existed before. People have been trying to create a truly digital money since the internet was first created. The idea is not new. The problem is obvious, though, when trying to create a new form of money. How could a company or a person create a new money? Who would issue the money? How could you trust it? It just doesn't work. That's what makes what Satoshi Nakamoto did with Bitcoin so unique. Satoshi was able to create this digital Bitcoin network in a way so that there is no centralized point of failure. Using a system called the blockchain, in conjunction with these things known as nodes and miners, Bitcoin is a distributed, decentralized, and global system. There's no server or database that can go down or lose power, and there's no company that can shut down. Besides its decentralization, although both of the following are directly related, Bitcoin has two main other properties that we will discuss further on the next two slides: sound money and censorship resistance. Another unique aspect about Bitcoin is that it has a fixed monetary policy. There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin. Starting at zero in 2009, every 10 minutes on average, new Bitcoin is created at a fixed rate. Every 4 years, the amount of Bitcoin that is created every 10 minutes cuts in half. This happens until 2140, at which point no new Bitcoin will ever be created again. There is no Federal Reserve, no bank, no individual, or no group of people that can ever change this. This is interesting in a few different ways. Nothing like this has ever existed before. Secured by what is known as cryptography, as well as through its decentralized properties, Bitcoin has a level of unforgeable scarcity that has never been seen in any type of money before. Bitcoin is essentially infinitely divisible as well, with the smallest unit, known as a Satoshi, being 1/100 millionth of a Bitcoin. So you can acquire and send a tiny fraction of a Bitcoin. Think about how in the last video we discussed gold's store of value properties and how the fact its scarcity has allowed it to stay valuable over the course of thousands of years. Bitcoin has none of the history of gold, but was created specifically with those properties in mind. If you can understand the value proposition of owning gold, you're already about 75% of the way there with Bitcoin. Through math, aka cryptography, we now have an asset that cannot ever be inflated, which you can also send across the globe near instantly without going through any intermediary. This all represents what is known as sound money. And then you add censorship resistance. Censorship resistance is the idea that everyone using the Bitcoin network is equal. Anybody at any time can send a transaction to anyone they choose, and the transaction will go through. The system is tamper-proof. No third party, like a company or government, can restrict or prevent you from transacting with someone. According to the Human Rights Foundation, more than 50% of the world's population lives under an authoritarian regime. For these people, often living under ruthless dictators and human rights abusers, Bitcoin can be a valuable financial tool as a censorship-resistant medium of exchange. Financial surveillance is an extremely common tool for authoritarians. In China, people who use their WeChat app to pay for subway fare to attend Hong Kong protests were later tracked and arrested. Even in the US, workers in often legal industries like pawn shops, pornography sales, marijuana stores, and online gambling businesses are denied the right to use banks at all. Denying the right to even use the banking system is incredibly dangerous. Since this denial of service became even more common with what is known as Operation Choke Point in 2013, the homicide rate of sex workers has increased by 400%. Bitcoin cannot choose who to allow on its network. It's open to everyone. Censorship resistance is not about breaking rules, though. It's about neutrality. It's about designing a system that can't be corrupted in the first place. With Bitcoin's censorship resistance, combined with its monetary policy and decentralization, Bitcoin is the first truly neutral and apolitical money that has ever existed. Having more Bitcoin does not allow you to change the rules to get your way, like how it works with money in our current system today. The rules are set in stone, and anyone who wants to can participate. Now, Bitcoin is still a risk. This video is not investment advice. I need to say that because I know that I have spoken quite positively about it here. You shouldn't put money in anything that you don't fully understand, and this video is not enough for that. There is risk here. Bitcoin has only existed for 11 years, and its value is very volatile. In the last year, the price of a Bitcoin has ranged between a high of 12,500 and a low of 4,500 per Bitcoin. It's pretty likely that at some point your investment will be down. Down and up and down and up. This thing is volatile. The volatility is a result of the network being so small in the global scheme of things. As of the time of this video, the Bitcoin network has a market capitalization of $164 billion. While it is impressive that something that didn't exist 12 years ago and has no marketing budget or company, nothing behind it except natural user growth, has gotten all the way to this size, compared to other currencies and financial assets, Bitcoin is a very small fish in the global financial system. This means that it takes less big money buying and selling to significantly sway the price in either direction. Long term, the biggest real risk to the continued success of Bitcoin is really just a question of, will people want this? Money needs users. People don't really think about how money works. And if people don't question the status quo, they're not really going to get the why of Bitcoin. The growth has been impressive so far, but if everyone is content with the status quo, the progress will eventually stall out. Like with gold, Bitcoin is really technically more of a savings technology than a traditional investment. You aren't betting on the growth of a company here. You're deciding to keep your wealth in a form of money based on its properties as a money and as a store of value. I do understand thinking of Bitcoin as an investment, though, compared to something like gold. While Bitcoin improves upon gold's properties as a money, it has none of the history. That does make it a risk. What Bitcoin is really about, though, is a few things. It's the idea of a neutral money that can't be abused and corrupted, taking the politics out of money. It's about improving on the store of value properties of both gold and especially modern fiat with a scarcity that has never existed before. And it's about being a digital medium of exchange where you can transact globally without your information being routed through half a dozen intermediaries, all collecting your information along the way. So thank you for watching this video, everyone. I hope that at the very least, maybe now you respect Bitcoin as something more than just random internet money. It's something that should be taken seriously, and it satisfies many of the functions of money in ways that we have never quite seen before. So that's it for this video, everyone. I'm Sean, and take care.